Ooh-ah! You gotta come original. Episode 311. Telling all entertainers out there, you gotta come original. You gotta come original. All entertainers. You got to, man. Welcome to IDP Iggy Show. This is Iggy's Fantasy and Betting, a show that brings you all the NFL action. Go check out Iggy's Fantasy and Betting. We got the player plan. Go look at it. I would love for an executive or anybody in HR, anybody that has anything to do with sports betting and sports fantasy, to go look at Iggy's Fantasy and Betting. Go look at the player pine. Go look at the betting charts, and go convince yourself why you wouldn't want this beautiful, handsome man on your team writing stories for you. Because you got to come original, babe. Episode 311 on Iggy's Fantasy and Betting. The season is over for 95% of the people out there. Congratulations to the champions out there. Pat yourself on the back. Najee Harris winning the Warrior Bowl. Big league I'm a part of. That meaningless run, meaningless runs, meaningless plays, so-called meaningless actions in sports. And not so meaningless, are they? Because some people are really celebrating. Some people just wanted a lot of money. Paid out $1,300 in my league of record. Going to pay out the charity league. People are going to get their gifts, and others are just the first loser, man. That's just how it goes. So I hope you had a wonderful season. I hope you were able to achieve your goals of putting money in your pocket and putting trophies on the mantle, baby, because this is what this show's all about. And if you've done it, if you paid attention at all to any of the start and sits throughout the playoff run, you probably did good. And I know some people did. I saw some people make some moves in my charity league, the names I suggested, and I had quite a few people hit me up on my DMs. And one of them told me as soon as like the first games were over, he was like, "Hey, you did it, dude. Everyone you said you started to do did well." And that's what I'm here for, man. I'm here to help you give that advice. I want you to win, dude. I want you to win. And I want you to win in your bed, and it's not over. I'm still bringing everything this week for everybody that may be playing in 2-week championship leagues. I've done that. I think it's very stupid. I don't think that most of the people that you drafted or that are on your roster are only going to play like half a game. Some of them, if you have some people that are in like already do or die situations for the playoffs, you have that going on as well. So, just make sure you're paying attention. If you still are playing the playoffs, like I said, for those that did it, congratulations. For the commissioners out there, big sigh of relief. I know I'm always like, oh, thank God it's over, because I write a game of the week story, as people know. I write, so that's 5. I write 5 of those every week on top of doing the podcast, on top of working. So I imagine you commissioners are in not much different situation. I know commissioners love their league. I know commissioners care probably more about their league than almost everybody else combined. So shout out to the commissioners out there that are doing the deal, holding it down, taking all the griping, taking all the complaining, telling people to settle down, all that stuff, man. It's hard work being a commissioner. And for those commissioners out there, congratulations to you, man. I want to do a recap last night of Big Ben's show. It seemed to be all about Big Ben, pretty slow. The Browns are who they thought they were. I think Baker has proven that he's a backup quarterback from now going forward. I don't know why anybody else would think that. Big Ben kept his hopes alive. That defense played well. I told you Cameron Hayward was going to have a good game. I told you TJ Watt was going to have a good game. I told you Highsmith and Minka Fitzpatrick was going to have a good game. I didn't know what to expect from offense. Najee saved your day. I'm still sorry for the Chubb truthers because Chubb didn't come up to deliver, man, and that's just how it is. Out there, Deontay Johnson got a touchdown. If you had him, he likely won some people some championships because of the lack of production on Monday. But for whatever it's worth, man, great season. Great game. You can say whatever you want about Big Ben. If you want to punch holes in people's programs and act like you've never been, done anything wrong, kudos to you. You may have walked that line in life. I'm very much somebody that believes in second chances. I'm very much somebody that believes in forgiveness. I'm very much people being able to change who they are in their 20s and younger years and be able to turn into themselves into a good person. And I think Big Ben did that, dude, last night. And think about everything he's done for Pittsburgh, for a city like Pittsburgh that loves its sports, particularly loves its football and hockey and The Steelers need something. It's one of the greatest organizations in the NFL, if not the greatest. They've had a sustained success. They've had a commitment to coaches, and they had a commitment to Big Ben. They could have given up on Big Ben a long time ago, but they didn't. And he got to finish out his career in the place he started, in a city that loves him, on a field that meant so much to him. Can you imagine having 18 years of memory on a football field? It's kind of a hard thing to imagine, man. And he did it, and he got a good send off. He got the send off he deserves, and they're not out of it. They need some help. They need Jacksonville somehow to win, which I don't want that to happen for my bets at all. But that's what they need, and that's what they're playing for. And Big Ben, I'm not going to pretend he's the greatest quarterback out there, but he had remarkable stats, and he's in categories that not too many people will be able to achieve. 60,000 passing yards. I don't care who you are. That takes work. That takes reading. That takes getting the pass there. It takes getting it completed. It takes a lot of work, regardless of how great your wide receivers are, or your running back is, or your offensive line is, or how good your offensive coordinator is. Big Ben had to make those passes. And he deserves that respect for being such a great quarterback on a great franchise for an incredibly long time. So shout out to you, Big Ben, on doing that. All right, let's get to the real stuff over here. Yeah. Let's break down the power ranking. Whew. Some teams took a loss on that week on the power rankings last week. That's all right. I don't know who I still don't know who the Bengals are. Are they going to show up like that in the playoffs? That'd be awesome if they did. But let's get right down to it. Number one on the power rankings. Who do you think? Nothing changes, baby. It's Green Bay Packers. They're going to be on the top. They were on the top all of last year. They're going to be on the top this year. They're going to have fans at Lambeau, and they're going to go to the Super Bowl, baby. Eat it. You don't have to like it if you don't want to. Number two, moving up a lot on my board, the Tennessee Titans. And it's just time I give them credit because I thought they weren't going to be this good this year. I didn't think their secondary is that good, and it's not. But they have great linebackers. They have great defensive line. They got a quarterback that will will his way to a victory. They got an offensive line that doesn't matter who you put back there. I hear a lot of people talk crap about that offensive line. I don't know why, because it don't matter who they put back there. Running back, they're able to get in and produce yards and move the ball, move the chains. That's what it's all about. That is really what it's all about. And the Tennessee Titan defense has been able to stymie anybody, even with the bad secondary. Are they going to go all the way to the championship? I don't know. I do think they're going to lock up the number one seed. I think they're going to get healthy. I think they're going to get Derrick Henry back. He can honestly be a complement piece to Foreman until he gets healthy. If they get AJ Brown back, that's part of the reason I haven't had them on power rankings because they haven't been healthy. But they've been beating everybody while they're not healthy. So say what you want, the Tennessee Titans are the real deal. I think Mike Vrabel's an excellent coach. I think he's a well-traveled. I think he had people just like to associate him as being a Patriot. I'm pretty sure he started out as a Ram or a Brown, one of those two, and then he went to a Patriot, then he went to Kansas City, and then I think he played somewhere else. So he got a lot of philosophy and a lot of coaching from way more people besides Bill Belichick. I think Mike Vrabel's a really underrated coach, and I think it's time we start giving him his props. So number two, Tennessee Titans. Number three, Buffalo Bills. I think it's going to be interesting for teams to stop them. Singletary, I had him in my DFS. I spoke good about him on the Patreon, if you paid attention to that. And, if Singletary gets going, like, what else does that team need to be complete? I mean, they won that game with 4 rushing touchdowns last week in the cold weather at Buffalo. If they can win games by running touchdowns, they're going to be a problem for everybody in the playoffs. It doesn't matter who it is. Josh Allen's great. That defense is great. Singletary's coming along. Sean McDermott is an excellent coach, in my opinion, and I think they got their pieces put together to make an AFC run because I don't know who can prevent themselves from having a bad week in the AFC. Who can prevent themselves from having a bad week? I just don't see that team. I think every team is susceptible to a loss. Number 4, San Francisco 49ers, man. I think we got to give them props. I think they might be the scariest team in their division. And if 3 teams make the playoffs from that division, which looks like it's going to happen, it's going to be weird. San Francisco is playing Los Angeles Rams. And if they lose and the Saints win, then the Saints have a chance to catapult them. So I think San Francisco is going to be playing with a great head of steam. I think Kyle Shanahan has proven once again he's a great coach. I thought he was done. I was like, everything you did didn't work out, my friend. Your philosophy's not holding true. Nope. Looks like I had to eat those words because San Francisco is doing so well that they're one of the scariest teams. I don't think any team in the NFC wants to play San Francisco with that run game. I think they'll be very difficult to beat. And I expect the Los Angeles game to be pretty close. I think San Francisco's beat Sean McVay and the Rams the last 5 times they played. Kyle Shanahan owns Sean McVay. And if they win this week and they're in the playoffs, look out. San Francisco is going to be very dangerous. Number 5, a team that I don't know who they are. I don't know what they're going to be. I don't know. I can't figure out their consistency. But the truth is, Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, if they play just lights out football, they're going to be difficult to beat. They got the Raiders. I'm not even sure that they can win that game. But if the Chargers get in the playoffs, like I said, I think the AFC is wide open. I think Kansas City's wore out. I think their corners got exposed. If they're playing against a good quarterback, which is pretty much all there is in the playoffs, and they're going to have a little bit more difficult time than these AFC West kind of lackluster teams they've been playing. I mean, they barely got past the Chargers. So if they play the Chargers again, that's a good quarterback. I think Kansas City's going to have some issues. The Chargers can just step it up and play defense like they did last week against a bad team. If they can play that defense a little better, they're going to be good. And I think that Justin Herbert can keep pace with just about any quarterback in the AFC, man. So there you have it. Top five. Once again, Green Bay Packers, Tennessee Titans, Buffalo Bills, San Francisco 49ers, LA Chargers. That's my top five power rankings. Go ahead and at me. Let me know what you think. I am not scared. Let's see here. So we're going to go to the top performances. Normally, the time I base this off a sleeper. I base this off the hashtag FF7, Fantasy Football 7's format for the scoring. The best scoring format I've found in any fantasy football event. It's the best. It makes every position count. It makes every position relevant. It makes the positions equal. All right, so let's get down to it without no further ado. For back-to-back weeks, man, if you had Joe Burrow in the best ball league, you probably dominated it. Joe Burrow, 55.84 points, a better score than what he had last week somehow, even though last week he had 500 yards passing. Unreal. Hello, new name, a guy that I was all about coming out of the draft, and he may have just had his breakout game 3 years later. I'm talking about Rashad Penny out of Seattle. He had 32.5 points, man. Way to go, baby. Way to hold it down. Way to do the deal. Way to show people that you are the real person coming out of San Diego State University, and you can step up and deliver when the moment asks. The highest scoring player of the week, any position, all players across the board, IDPs, defenses, kickers, you name it. His name was Jamar Chase, and he had 57.6 points. Unreal. If you had Burrow to Chase, if you had that stack, you got 112 points alone off of those two guys. My God. Shout out to anybody that had that. All right, the top tight end, a big surprise. Noah Fant making it back to the board. I think he had one earlier in the year. 15.2 points for the Denver Bronco tight end. Not too bad. Highlight for them for sure. Highest scoring kicker. How about this? Jason Myers, 21 points, baby. Seattle Seahawks getting it done with the running back and the kicker. Kickers matter. Myers probably won some people some leagues, all right, for whatever it's worth. We'll talk about the Fantasy Football Sevens League tomorrow, and a kicker won that for sure. Won the championship for somebody for sure. So, for whatever it's worth, take a look at that. Kickers matter, baby. When we get into the defensive side of the ball, the Chicago Bears probably had more points than this in the Fantasy Football Sevens format. That's based off my league record. Like I said, it's a very similar point format. Defenses get a little bit more, and it's 45.53. Jamar Chase had more points too because it's half-point PPR, so I'm sure that he would have had more points than what I had. But this is what I'm going off because Sleeper's not got it loaded for some reason. Chicago Bears, 45.53 points on that defense, shutting down New York Giants. A great DFS play. I loved it. Hello, Cameron Jordan. Welcome back. Way to keep your team relevant. 3.5 sacks, mister. But you just do it, man. You got over 100 sacks. You didn't even have one your first year. I think Cameron Jordan's a very underrated player. And he had 32.55 points to lead all defensive linemen. No surprise who the linebacker is right here. His name is T.J. Watt, the guy we pump up, the guy going for the record, the sack record. I think we need to enjoy T.J. Watt. He's got to get Defensive Player of the Year this year. I don't see how anybody else can do it. And if you paid attention to Friday's show, I hope you got on it when you could. Still at plus 200. It may not be there anymore. But I think it's going to be a lock. So T.J. Watt, 37 points, lead all linebackers in the top defensive back for the Blackbirds. Mr. Chuck Clark, man, he had 2 good picks, came out of nowhere. Somebody had to step it up in that secondary, and he said, I'm going to be the guy because I was a one-time starter with 30.8 points, man, for the Ravens. Not enough to get the job done. The Ravens are a lot better than people wanted to admit. I mean, if they could have just won that last game, held on to Lamar to get back to the playoffs, I think it would have been something special. The Ravens have only been losing by like 1 point. Every game Lamar's out, every game their secondary's out. I think that goes a lot to say to Mr. Harbaugh and what a great coach he is, all right? So there you have it, man. Once again, Jamar Chase, the top performance of the week, dude. Wrapping it up this fantasy season for you guys. Wrapping it up. I love it. I'll have a lot of fun doing this. And if you had one of those players, if you had the roster with all those players, good Lord, look out because I think it could have happened. I mean, if you had the Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow stack, Rashad Penny would have been available. Noah Fant would have been available. Myers would have been available. The Chicago Bears defense is definitely available. Cameron Jordan might have been on a team. TJ Watt, if you didn't get early, you probably didn't have him, but Chuck Clark is definitely available. You could have had this lineup for your fantasy football championship if you had some of them. But shout out to those that drafted well. Shout out to those that was able to make the correct moves throughout the season, because that's how you win championships. It's one of the details, man. And if you didn't make the right moves at the last second, you got really confident on your team you drafted, you probably didn't make it to the championship. You probably didn't win your championship. But that's what this show's here for you, man. And like I said, it's 311, baby, episode 311. So you got to come original. Same applies to your fantasy football league. Entertainers got to come original because that's what you got to do. But your team, the way you set up your league, you gotta pay attention to the details out there. So commissioners, if you had a bad league, if you had a lot of complaining, if something didn't go right, I participated in 2 leagues. I just quit participating in halfway through, just for the simple fact they weren't set up good. They weren't. There was no consistency. They were changing rules halfway through it. You don't want to be that person, all right? You don't want to be that person. So episode 311, like I said, you got your power rankings, you got your top performances of everybody that possibly led the way for the team, won you championships. I want to give a shout out to Tyler 250R. I'm hoping I get him on the show tomorrow, man. He is the Fantasy Football Sevens IDP World Bowl champion. So I'm gonna start calling you Mr. IDP over there now. Yeah, dude, we're hoping to get him on the show tomorrow. Even if he's not, it's a review of what was a crazy breakdown. We're gonna break down all 6 teams that made it to the finals, break down their scores, break down what happened. Tua Tagovailoa, man, he did his best to lose a lot of people championships out there, get negative points, very difficult to do. Yeah, congrats, Tyler. And so for whatever that's worth, that's what we're going to look at tomorrow. I'm hoping to get him on the show. We're going to talk about the prizes. We're going to get everybody taken care of that one, because like I said, just winning a 16-team league, winning a 12-team league, winning an 18 league, a 10-team league, that's a lot of fun. It's difficult in its own right. A 16% league, 16-team league, you got a 6% chance of winning. You got a shallow bench. You got to pay attention the whole entire season. It's a marathon, and you're at the very end of the marathon, and hope you get to look back and be proud of the season that you put together. All right. There's always next year. There's the playoffs, fantasy basketball. The show is going to morph into a betting show, once a week betting show after this week, but we still got this week to get through. There's a lot of good football. There's still people participating. I'm still writing the player pine. We're still reviewing the championship week. We're still going to look at bets, and we're going to get ready for the playoffs. All right. Thank you guys for listening. I hope I come original for you. I hope you enjoy the show. I hope you enjoy the content, and I appreciate you. I just want to let you know that. And we'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful afternoon. And take care of yourself.